Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. I just got done canning a whole half bushel. I should have just said half a bushel. I shouldn't have said a whole half a bushel. I just canned half a bushel of peaches. This is one of my favorite hobbies. I love to do it. It gives me time alone. It gives me time to make mistakes. There has been so many jars of jam that I've completely messed up. And last year, I tried peach jam for the very first time. My fruit was at the very top of the jar, and at the bottom was essentially jelly. Jelly has like no fruit in it, it's just the juice from it. So the bottom is like really clear, and the top has all this chunky fruit at the top. It was ugly. It was ugly, and I was so embarrassed of it. I cringed when people came over, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have biscuits or whatever in jam that I made, which on one hand I was proud because I had processed jam. On the other hand, it wasn't very pleasant to look at. It tasted really good, but it was ugly. This year, I got peaches, and I told myself it's gonna be different than last year. I am going to successfully can peach jam. It's gonna look beautiful. I'm gonna be proud of it, and I'm not gonna cringe when I give it to someone, right? Like my mom or my dad, my aunt, like people that I love. I'm not gonna be embarrassed when I hand off this jam because I am gonna make it right. So instead of stressing myself out and doing it all like on weekday evenings, I decided I was gonna take a full day and I was gonna can the jam, and I was not gonna stress myself out. I was not gonna rush. I was gonna get it perfect. So here I am blanching the peaches. So you have to get the skin off of them, which is a pain in the absolute butt. So I get the skin off, and I chop them, and then I like de-pit them. I put them in a bowl. I boil the water. I boil the peaches, the juice, everything, and I can it. I am looking at my jam, and it looks exactly the same as last year. It is separated, and it is not pretty. I went to bed completely upset, and I just thought about how I could have done this jam differently. A quick YouTube search later, I realized that I needed to blend my peaches. I didn't realize that you had to blend the peaches. I thought the peaches just broke down into the jam. That is what I do for blackberry jam. That's what I do for applesauce. Essentially, I like kind of mix applesauce up, but it breaks down. And I thought peaches did that too. But I was uneducated. I didn't know. I did not know what I was missing. I needed help. I needed someone to tell me what to do. So the next morning, I dump all of those jars of jam into a pot. I reheated it very slowly, and I blended it. I got an immersion blender last Christmas, so it worked perfectly. And I sanitized my jars. I poured the hot emulsified jam into the jars, and I sealed them. I always do a test jar. This is usually like the jam that's been left over. It's a partial jar. It's not full. It's like half full. I put that in the fridge, and I just hoped that it set. So last year my jam was soft set and it was separated. So it had like two major issues with it. This year, when I did the first set of jam, it had separated, but it had set. It was set, but it was actually more disgusting than last year because you couldn't like stir it. It was like solid jelly at the bottom and then like the fruit floating at the top. So I was disheartened, right? And so as I'm dumping the jam into the pot to re-blend it up, I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work? What if I am not cut out to make jam? And I know that seems silly because it's just a hobby. I could easily go to the store and buy jam, but it's important to me, right? It's a goal. It's a hobby. It's something I love. I love to go to the farmer's market. I love to go to the You Pick patches. I like making it part of my lifestyle, my routine, my aesthetic. I love being in the garden. I love being outside. And so it was frustrating for me to think, if I can never get this right, how can I be that aesthetic? How can I be that thing? And I wait for my jars to set. And after a couple hours, I pulled out my test jar and it was perfect. It had set. It had perfectly distributed peach bits and peach jam. It was so sweet. It's gonna be perfect on toast with thick butter and peaches on top, like the peach jam. And I literally stood there and I started to cry. Luckily, I was all by myself, so nobody had to see me like break down, because I had wanted this so bad. I have made blackberry jam, I've made applesauce, I've made apple butter, I've made peach jam, whatever. I've tried a lot. And there's something to be said when it finally falls together. And it finally sets and it finally is perfect. And this is gonna be something I can give to someone and I'm gonna be proud of it and I'm not gonna be embarrassed. And I asked myself, what changed? What made it different? And I realized that I had to have the knowledge from someone else. I had to go see someone else do it. It was the quickest YouTube ever. Oh my gosh, let me pull it up right now because I want to give her credit. I did not realize to blend the jam. And I will say, I texted my aunt and I was like, nobody told me to blend the peaches. In all the books, like the little pamphlets, the jam books, nobody said to blend them up. They said you could kind of mash them, but they didn't have that key thing, that key knowledge that I needed. So I'm gonna go to my history. And so this was Easy Peach Jam Recipe by Buttered Side Up. She posted it over a year ago and it was very quick. I will say, I have a short attention span, we all do. So I needed something quick, I needed something that was gonna give me the results that I needed. And I'm so grateful for this woman to have been in her kitchen teaching how to make peach jam. That was a game changer for me. I realized, oh my gosh, that was the thing I needed. I needed to blend the jam. And it was this epiphany of how many times do we go through our life and we keep trying and we keep trying and we keep trying and we cannot seem to get it perfect. We can't seem to get it right. And sometimes you have to reach outside your network, your day-to-day routine. You have to think outside the box and you have to connect with someone who has what you are missing. And I just realized how important community is and how important it was that this woman made this video, doesn't know who it's gonna reach and what kind of impact she's gonna make. It's a simple thing, right? Like, and you wouldn't think that peach jam holds this much like significance, right? You don't think that this peach jam would hold that much significance in someone's life, but to me it meant so much. And I was just thinking about my past self and the things that she's tried so hard to do. I've been going through old TikToks and photos, and I realized that even though I might be a little cringed out over my effort in these events, right, these photos I was looking at my old pageant photo because Lily just got her pageant thing, and I was going down memory lane, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, my hair is just absolutely atrocious. My under eye makeup, I haven't been wearing bottom mascara for the past couple years because I felt like it brought my face down, and in this photo I had mascara on my bottom lashes, and I'm picking myself apart. And then I think, oh my gosh, like, she had the courage to try. She had the courage to be someone, or be in the view of the public, right? Like, I tried for this thing, I interviewed for this thing, and some of the pageants that I did, I lost, but some of them I won. And I just think, oh my gosh, like, if I didn't have the courage to do that, then how would someone else know that they could? Someone who looks just like me, who might have under eye mascara, and I just was thinking about the significance of showing up exactly who you are and being passionate about what makes you happy, because you never know who is looking to you for inspiration, or who is looking to you as the expert, right? Like, that woman in the kitchen, she might have thought, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna make this video, nobody's gonna watch it, right? We've all had that feeling, like, who is gonna watch my content, or who is even gonna care if I volunteer at the library to teach individuals who don't know how to read. You might not know the impact you have, but you have to go out and just be yourself and be passionate, and allow the world to see you and your passions, because you never know who's going to be watching, and you never know who is going to find inspiration or need that key piece that you hold on to, that is from your experience, from your journey, right? Like, we all go through things in our life, and today I was helping my mom, and she was working on her Google Calendar, and she was trying to change the color, and as I was sitting there, I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, like, who taught me how to do Google Calendar? I had to learn myself. But then I'm like, and I was thinking back to when I was doing it, and I was like, I had to search it, but from trial and error, like, I was able to help her. When we were going through a legal document, we were on FaceTime going back and forth, and she needed a word replaced. She was like, it shouldn't be project manager, it should be XYZ. That's just an example. But she was like, it needs to be switched. And I pulled from my brain, I was like, instead of going, because I searched for it, I knew how to search for the word, and then I was manually typing, I was deleting it and manually typing in that phrase, that thing that she needed replaced, because it was a new term, something that had changed, a new standard in their company, and I was changing it, and I thought back to English, and Miss Robertson had taught us how to replace the word through the document. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, here she was. She taught me something that I remembered from high school, and if I hadn't gone through that life experience, I wasn't able to share it with my mother. My mother didn't take that class. My little sister didn't take that class. I took that class. So I was able to then show her how to do it. You might have gone through an experience, or was taught something, or found it out for yourself, like I did with the Google Calendar, trial and error. You might have that piece of knowledge that someone else is needing, that they are racking their brain or messing up or trying so hard to do. And you might have the thing that is going to make their life more simple. You have the thing that is going to be a game changer for them. That girl from Buttered Side Up did not know that her simple, quick video was going to have me bawling in my kitchen, right? Like, she didn't know the impact she was going to have on me. And we never know the impact we're going to have on people. Sometimes we might get an inkling, we might get an idea, we might see some ripple effect, but you never know the impact you're going to have on someone's life in years to come. I think about what I've learned from the people in my life, past relationships, friendships, past teachers, classes, and there's still some things that I'll run across and I'll remember it from that person who taught me or who showed me. There was a girl at my high school, we were best friends sophomore and junior year, and we're not friends anymore, but every single time, every single day, this is insane, I put my cream blush on. And back then we did not have cream blush, we only had powdered blush, but I remember her teaching me to put blush on my cheeks, right? And then she put blush on her nose. And she said, my mom told me to put like blush on my nose. And now every single day when I put on my blush, right now I'm using the NYX liquid cream, liquid matte lip gloss. I don't know why, it's the perfect shade for my cheeks. I was in a pinch, I didn't have anything, but I'm using the wand and I dot on my cheek, I dot on the other cheek, and then I dot on my nose. And every single time I do that, I think of that girl. We don't even speak anymore. And yet she has made a huge impact on my life. And I think about her almost every single day, right? When I apply my blush, it's in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh, and I think of her. You don't know. That was a passing comment, right? She might not even remember it, but I remember it and I do it because I love how it looks. Like, I think it's so cute. A little blush on your nose. Absolutely. You never know the impact you're going to make. So share yourself. Share your passions. Share what you're excited about. Share the journey. When I look back at my past self, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing, that's cringe. But if I wouldn't have shared my journey, even if it's with myself, if I didn't notate it, I could have easily forgotten about it. But instead now I can be so proud of the person who had the courage, right? I'm so proud of myself for having the courage. I think back to my first podcast episodes. They are ugly. They are scary. No, they're not scary, but I cringe at how I did it, and I wanted it to be perfect, and I spent so much time trying to make it perfect, and now I'm like, it's not perfect. But that's just a testament to see how far I've grown, how much I've learned, how much I've applied, and the experiences I've had in this life. And you know what? 5 years from now, when I'm listening to this episode, I might think, oh my gosh, Logan, that was weird. You said that word wrong, or that's a interesting thought. I don't know. Maybe it's my speech pattern, or how many times I say like, okay, or so, my transition words. Maybe 5 years from now, I have much better speech patterns. But I'm never gonna learn unless I practice and I notate in my journey and I try and I have the courage to show up every single day and practice my crafts, because you don't get from point A to B without doing the journey, without walking down the road. I don't know, like, you don't get there unless you actually put in the work, until you actually try. So whatever you have been putting off or scared to do, scared to show up as, take this as the encouragement you need to show up as that most confident self. Even if in a couple of years from now you're gonna make fun of it, at least you started. It's already gonna be bad in comparison, so what's holding you back? If you're gonna look back and think it's cringe, what's holding you back? Because you're gonna look back anyways, and you're gonna say, oh, that was horrible, even if you tried to make it so perfect. So what's holding you back? What's stopping you? Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and send to a friend who might be holding back and not showing up as their most confident self. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!